Hey, there I am. Hi, everybody. I had fun the other day reading some poetry on my Just Chatting stream, so I thought I would read a little more. If you have any comments or questions, please drop them in the chat. But I think I'll just get started reading. These are poems from my poetry collection, Field Guide to the Haunted Forest. This one's called Naming the River. The water in your body is just visiting. It was a thunderstorm a week ago. It will be an ocean soon enough. Most of your cells come and go like morning dew. We are more weather pattern than stone monument. Sunlight on mist, summer lightning. Your choices outweigh your substance. Hey, thanks, Creamy. Yeah, that's a theme I like to think about a lot as I try to think about impermanence and how to make friends with change, the change we see in ourselves and all around us. Aw, thank you. Okay, now I'm going to read a silly one because I'm also silly. Home safety tip. If you are awoken by a strange sound, make a stranger sound. If there is no response, congratulations. You are now the monster. Get out of bed. You don't need sleep anymore. Now, all you need are the shadows and the endless whispers of dark corners. I like to make friends with the monsters under my bed. Aw, thank you. Creamy, that's nice to hear. Well, if you read the collection, you know this, but I deal with a lot of um, chronic depression, and I have a whole variety of books and media that I use when I'm sad. So it's really, really an honor to hear that I'm helpful to you. How about a poem about sadness? This one kind of has to do with my we'll call it my mental health journey. The treatment. I can't say spending time in nature heals depression. For me, the outdoors changes sadness from a pain to be endured to a state to be experienced. It's still sadness, but in the context of green growing things under a limitless sky, sadness is simplified, not a wound, a tile in the mosaic. Even so, depression needs more. I resisted trying therapy for a long time because I thought I was too smart for it. Here's the thing. You can't think your way out of depression any more than you can think your way out of drowning. Asking for a life jacket is more important than knowing the physics of buoyancy. How do I like my steak? I don't get steak that often these days. I guess I'm sort of a medium guy. And ask where that question came from, but I'm a little afraid to ask. This poem's called Fossil. The fossil is not the animal. The fossil is not the bones of the animal. The fossil is the stone's memory of the bones of the animal. And that's a poetry older than words. My favorite thing about being a parent. Well, my my son is almost a year and a half old. He will be uh, in about a week. Um, Boy, there's a lot I like about it. So far, I'm just enjoying seeing him become a person because for a while there, they're more like a loud potato that you take care of. That wakes you up several times in the night. Um, and I am just flooded with a general excitement about him learning to talk and then me being able to show him things. Take him on hikes and camping and to the zoo, all sorts of things. Um, and moreover, I can't wait to know what he is interested in because I'm sort of a nerd for curiosity in general. So I don't care what it is. I don't care if he likes, I don't care. Whatever it is, I will dive into whatever his interests are with him. Um, if he's into music or museum or sports or, the ocean, whatever. I like to take long car trips, and I'm just excited to be a part of somebody else's journey of growth and learning. What about you? 5 years old seems like a world away to me right now. So I'd be interested to hear something about what you like about being a parent. What strange critters have I been thinking about recently? Hmm, chickens. Oh, yeah, we dearly would like to have some pet chickens. We can't at the moment because of municipal laws. Um, I kind of have a dream to move a little further out into the countryside than I am currently. And I'm already in kind of a rural area next to a cemetery, but we just barely count as part of the area that isn't allowed to have chickens around here. So, strange creatures I've been thinking about. I went on a journey of discovery about electric eels the other day. Every once in a while, it just comes into my mind that electric eels are a real thing, and then I have to just live with that for a minute. Um, Other animals, I have a whole bunch of stink bugs in my house right now that are sort of waking up and starting to move around, and I kind of love them. They seem like almost like anime creatures or something, like fortress cities in miniature, because they're so bulky and armored. Um, and I enjoy patiently coaxing them onto my hand and watching them walk around and take them outside. So, yeah, electric eels and stink bugs. Your favorite is watching her develop her own interest. Yeah, yeah. I really can't wait until I can actually talk to my son a little more. Chickens make for wonderful pets. I know. We've done quite a bit of research on chickens. We just can't have them yet. Um, yeah, I just love them. I love the living relative of the dinosaurs thing about chickens, and they're just they're so fascinating and a little bit alien to me. Um, yeah, I've never really known too many chickens. I worked at a wildlife rescue center for a while that had she wasn't tamed, but there was a wild turkey that would just show up and hang out with us at the center. Um, the center was on a property that was adjacent to a whole bunch of woods, and somehow this wild turkey figured out that these people were nice to animals and would come and tip out birdseed for her. And so she would stand on the porch of this building and look in the windows at sort of staff meetings and would walk along with you to your car. And yeah, 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 I like birds. Never had a pet bird. Never even known a pet bird. Cat-faced spiders. Oh, is that a real creature? Oh, I'm gonna have to do some Googling. I hope it is. I love jumping spiders. You ever just Google images of jumping spiders? Wow. Wow, they are beautiful. Oh, kind of orb weaver. Okay. Wow, there are a lot of kinds of orb weavers. Huh. Yeah, we have I don't know, four or five kinds around here. Um, but no, cat-faced spiders is not one I've heard of before. Hmm. Cool. I have a new spider to learn about. Okay, speaking of thinking of animals, this poem is called Orcas. Somewhere there are orcas. In my little gray house in Ohio, surrounded by the stale air of winter indoors. Oh, I misread that. I'm in my little gray house in Ohio, surrounded by the stale air of winter indoors. But somewhere there are orcas. It's an easy fact to forget. It's easy to shrink your world to what you can see. But thankfully, somewhere there are orcas. Sometimes my world is all sun faded plastic, scrawled along the roadside in a scribble of petty meanness. But somewhere there are orcas. We all know facts that are as inert as chalk dust, but some knowledge is medicine. Yeah, I find it helpful sometimes, sort of as we were discussing, to just remember that certain creatures are in the world and that we are sharing that world with them. Orcas is one of those for me. You know, most of the world is ocean, and so those are creatures that are mammals. They have so much in common with me, but they live in a world that is both, the ocean is more representative of the planet than where I live, and yet I know nothing about it. You know, I've been in an ocean maybe 3 times. So just thinking about sea creatures in general, just uh, I find it both uplifting and maybe a little scary sometimes. And yeah, it's wonderful. Truth and facts. Love is just chemicals. Yeah? So is the churning inferno of the sun. So is the bedrock of the earth. So is the living fountain of a blooming cherry tree. If you need to call upon the word magic to fully appreciate the beauty of all that which is vivid and real, do so. Truth and fact are sisters, not twins. That's another one I think about a lot. Because I hope it's plain, I'm a huge fan of science. Um, a lot of what I think of as my philosophy, spirituality, whatever you want to call it, is very much rooted in what science is. Sort of systematized curiosity and study of the world. But I always feel like that's only part of the whole. Um, I like to think science is the how. You know, how do plants make food from sunlight? Um, how we breathe and the blood moves oxygen around to our cells, but it leaves so much room for why. But I always feel like how is part of it's a stepping stone on the path to why. So I really like to start with with sort of the life sciences and then spin out my poetry from those sorts of foundations. Dying practice. Every memory is a ghost, and the house they haunt is you. 27-year-old me is gone from the world, but echoes of him remain. The same is true for 17-year-old me and 7-year-old me. Those people no longer exist, but I hear their footsteps in the attic, walking where I can't, where I will join them in the memory of a future me. I suppose that one's also about thinking about impermanence and taking comfort in change. On a related note, this one is called Lifespan. A firefly lives 2 months. There are bristlecone pines standing today that have lived 5,000 years. The vital dignity of each of these species is not measured in time. Both are perfection. Treat your time likewise. Your moments deserve the same careful attention as your years. Those are the poems that I was interested in reading this evening. Does anybody have any other questions or comments? Happy to talk about poetry in general, or any of the writing you're doing, or any of the writing you enjoy. This was a this has been a fun project, taking this collection of poetry through the publication process. You know, you sort of write poems not in a vacuum, but I don't necessarily write them with a collection in mind. Um, yeah, so it's a little like back in the day making somebody a mixtape of figuring out how these poems go together beside one another. I am doing all right, thank you. Um, got quite a few writing projects going on. Uh, you might not be surprised to hear that I'm the sort of person who walks around and has, sort of new ideas for projects kind of constantly. So, right at the moment, I'm trying to kind of buckle down and get some things finished rather than following rabbit holes down in new directions, which can be hard for me because I get excited about new ideas. Glad to hear that you're writing. That's wonderful. Writing is, I love it, and it's hard, and I think I get better at it, but it never seems to get easier. I don't know. I like to think that other crafts probably get easier the more you practice. I feel like writing just gets hard in different ways. It's interesting. Well, hey, thank you, everybody, so much for visiting with me on here. I'll be doing more of these chats, probably more poetry readings as well, because I like writing poetry and I like reading poetry. I also do very casual, very informal streams on here where I play Stardew Valley and just chat and take questions. So that's another form of this that you're always welcome to join. Yeah. Yeah. Hip Ocean, that haunts me sometimes, right? Like I write and I write and I write, and I don't know, based on audience reaction, it seems like I do get better at it, but I don't know. Maybe I thought there would come a day when it was like it was just easy. I just think I'm going to write for 2 hours and I'd sit down and breeze through it because I've done it so much. Nope. Not really. Not really. Creamy. Yeah, it is hard. It's hard to settle on one art project. And in a lot of cases, I say don't try. Um, it's nice to get something done, but it's also nice to at least for me, for writing, to remember that it's never done. You just stop. Um, when I read back through the poetry collection or novels I've written or other projects, I never look at it and think, here's a thing that is done. It's here's a thing that I got, complete in a way I was satisfied at the time and then stopped working on. I only bring it up to say that, follow all the different art projects. One, I think, will resonate with you in a way that you will continue to sit with it until it is something that feels complete. But I don't know. I sometimes have to remind myself that I was raised in kind of a productivity focused capitalisty kind of society where we were all about the end product, but that doesn't necessarily have to rule my life in terms of my art and creativity and writing. Plus, hey, if you're pulled in a bunch of different directions, that just kind of says something good about your relationship with the world. That's good. There should always be a whole bunch of stuff we want to do, right? Going once. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much. Hey, that's what I tell myself anyway. There, sashimi. All right. I will be back on here around 8 playing a silly farming game and doing more chatting. So maybe I'll see you then.